So this is the KhoodeelaarTV television channel. Khoodeelaar is a Silodi language word I devised in defending the community in the East End of London against the corrupt, institutionally corrupt UK central government and local government conspiracy to dig a hole in the heart of the community's front line, known as Brick Lane in London E1. But the ramifications affected the rest of the East End and the rest of the community. So it's the movement defending the community in the East End of London, the movement defending the community from the East End of London by upholding the highest standards of universal values: transparency, accountability, in universal solidarity, and universal justice. And these are the papers today in the Prince Fleet Street. These are the papers that we diagnose, world exclusively diagnose based on the evidence. And the evidence makes the newspapers completely, absolutely, disgracefully dishonest, sick, racist, untruthful, antisocial, anti-democratic, weapons of mass propaganda and brainwashing the gullibles. So this is part A. We shall be doing the later parts later, but this is just to put the headlines or front pages. So this is not about the society, but about an individual celebrity. And so that is the thing that Times gives away the game, that although Hancrook, we call him Hancrook because of his lying, and we've called him Hancrook since long before Cummings came out with his so-called disclosure that is being reported in the Fleet Street papers today. And the Guardian says the Cummings text shop show Johnson calling Matthew Hancrook totally hopeless. Now, this is the complete banality and stupidity on the part of the Guardian. I mean, this is not a story, because all of them are hopeless. That is just not even the beginning. They are all hopeless, and they are untruthful, and they're corrupt. So that is the Daily Mail running the main show about the lockdown. This is a local paper from the northeast of London. Local paper, we call it local paper, but it's not really local paper. Most of these papers, this is a local Guardian, which covers Leytonstone, Waltham Forest, Walthamstow, etc. And the reason we bought this one today is about that story about that boy. And the boy is featured because Redbridge Council has refused to compensate a mother of a child who missed a year of school. Now that is complicated enough, but the reason why this is important in the context of the Khoodeelaar campaign is about the lack of democracy in local councils, in London, in England, in the rest of the UK. So we shall be looking more at that story and the ramifications, wider implications of council's negligence, especially the concept of negligence and corruption and betrayal that we have been featuring and focusing on and exclusively reporting on in relation to Tower Hamlets Council's corrupt behavior and illegal behavior in betraying those children, those 4 schoolgirls from Bethnal Green. The 4 schoolgirls may not be as immediately recognizable as would be the case if I mentioned the name Shamima Begum. She and 3 others have been betrayed by Tower Hamlets Council, and we continue to campaign for Tower Hamlets Council to compensate and apologize to and pay damages to these children and their families and loved ones. And the Daily Mirror has got a trendy headline, but the underlying sort of kind of underlying contents do not bear out this headline. The headline is, or heading is correct. It says Boris is the real villain. And any issue, any day, any issue, any 24 hours, and political issues and the evidence would make Boris Johnson the real villain anyway. So it says, thanks to the texts published by Dominic Cummings, we now know Boris Johnson concluded that Matt Hancock was not up to the job. And it ends with the last 2-line paragraph. No wonder Boris Johnson is delaying the public inquiry into Boris Johnson's response to the COVID. Now, as anyone regularly watching or viewing this particular program, our position, our unique world exclusive position, has been and remains strictly on the facts that the phrase public inquiry, as it is used in the UK, is a stupid phrase, it's an ignorant phrase, and an idiotic phrase that is based on the utter, total denial of the truth on the ground and truth in society. Earlier this week, the so-called inquiry or panel, which is the replacement, rare replacement because the normal phrase is the public inquiry. But this time it has been called the panel. Panel about the Metropolitan Police's role in covering up, in hiding the truth about the murder in 1987 of the investigator, private investigator, Daniel Morgan. It had 1,201 pages. This is the length of that report by the panel. And as we said yesterday, we shall be continuing to look at the phrase institutional corruption, the phrase police corruption, and other words and phrases used in that report. We shall be doing that on an indefinite level in the future. The essential assertion that we make, and we make this assertion world exclusively, uniquely. Nobody else is making this assertion. That this was another charade. How this charade was kind of organized or confected or fabricated is a different line of details. But in the end, it was a charade. Because despite 1,201 pages, it is not really any more original than the counterpart ones that have produced shorter length reports about other issues, including some investigation into Daniel Morgan. And the people who on this so-called social media in Britain have commented on that have not produced anything original. And of course, Fleet Street was absolutely stupid and ignorant and predictably kind of timid. So this is the one that the Daily Mail had on the front page, on the inside page. The front page was, of course, very accurate, as we said yesterday. Front page was very accurate, rotten to the core. That is the Metropolitan Police's current commissioner and the only woman commissioner of the Metropolitan Police. And that is a very catchy, predictable but catchy headline. And then this one on the pages 6 and 7. Despite that, the Daily Mail's conclusion is not original, it's not truthful, it's not honest, and it doesn't actually analyze the core that it says is rotten. So what we shall be doing, we shall be looking more on the Daily Mail's role and the rest of the paper. And today, Fleet Street is running with this stupid so-called disclosure by Dominic Cummings that Cummings was described as, with a swear word, hopeless. Cummings says that Matthew Hancock, not Cummings himself, Matthew Hancock was described as 4-letter word, 5-letter word, 6-letter word, 7-letter word, swear word, that he was hopeless, Matthew Hancock. So this idiotic Daily Scar has a stupid kind of show of craftiness. Hopeless bloke said, hopeless bloke is hopeless, says hopeless bloke. Now that doesn't show that they really understand the magnitude, the impact of these crooks being hopeless, impact on the people who have been massacred by negligence. And most of the items are based on flesh. And these are sub-pornographic, sometimes totally pornographic tactics and images that the crooked, stupid, moronic so-called newspapers in Free Street deploy. So you've got page 9, hell of an icon, that's a woman's kind of pornographic image. And then you've got another one on page 10 with a pornographic picture of a woman called Bad Influence. And this is supposed to be a woman. Influencer Chloe Ferrier, Chloe Khan, Jodie Marsh, and Lucy Mecklenburg have been censured for failing to tell followers when they have been paid for their posts. And then there is a picture of a woman, even more brazenly pornographic. It's a woman called Ava Max. So these are the fodder with which the Fleet Street papers feed their gullibles. Incidentally, somebody has done a video post from a so-called left political kind of angle, left that is linked with propaganda for Jeremy Corbyn. Throughout Corbyn's stay as the leader of the Labour Party, now politically murdered, their analysis of Rupert Murdoch and the scum newspaper, because they said that Murdoch has said that the scum newspaper is no longer worth anything, that it is valueless and that it has got zero value. And these people who have done the video had one speaker saying that the Sun was never about making money, that it was about influencing politics in Britain. Now, whoever this person or wherever this person got the information from, that was absolute lie. Because not only did Murdoch make money with the Sun and had the intention of making money with the Sun, it did make literally billions of pounds for Murdoch. And as we have been saying for a long time, Murdoch based his exploitation of the gullibles by selling to the gullibles the scum with page 3, literally, that he became a multi-billionaire American entrepreneur. And he set out in America in a big way based on the money that he made from Britain through the scum. So that's the point we make, and we shall elaborate on that in due course and update accordingly in due course. And the financial crimes has got 3 banner items. One is that scandal-ridden board of Toshiba should be voted out. That is one. And the second one in the middle is Africa's aging rulers. Regimes face tough challenge from tech-savvy youth. And the third and the last one is test case in Provence. That is in France, where the fascist Front National or National Front, founded by Le Pen, is closing in on becoming the recipient of most votes in the Riviera, the Provence Riviera. And the financial crimes also promotes the business crooks by mentioning as the main heading, commercial evictions ban extended, and it doesn't show any recognition of ordinary housing, ordinary homes of ordinary people. And they've got a detail on page 4 of the financial crimes that Marine Le Pen, is hoping for electoral fillip on the Riviera. And these fascists are being described as far right, not as a fascist, in the subheading in the financial crimes. And it says that far right leader's man is on course for a win that could help propel her to presidency. Her meaning Marine Le Pen. And they've got a piece under international on the page 6 on the defeat at this week's election in Iran of Hassan Rouhani, who's 8 years as president of Iran and with legacy of broken promises. We shall come to that shortly. And on human rights and technology, the financial crime says digital sex crimes haunt South Korea women. Illegal filming and the spread of videos are causing stigma, harassment, and suicide. Now, this is not just confined to South Korea. It is far wider spread than just one country and just in one continent. It's a very serious weapon of mass murders. And the government, there is no government in any continent, Asia, Africa, Europe, North America, that has got even the intention to stop the mass murders of women via the big tax. And under arts, this Danny Lee talks about films, and the heading is Riot of Big Dreams and Romances, mainly based in America, and mainly based on pornography. Women's bodies, naked bodies, are the main trading stock. And the big read is African politics and economy. And the main heading is African youth versus the gerontocrats, the old and the new. And it says on opinion about business, written by this woman called Brooke Masters, says Toshiba scandal is a moment to stand up and be counted. and its opinion pieces is welcome EU-US detente on trade. And the second one of the two editorials is headed Graveyard of Empires Calls to China. And this woman based in Delhi with a mysteriously Persian surname or Pakistani surname or Muslim surname anyway, Amy Kazmin, New Delhi Notebook. The heading to our piece is Indians have been left scarred by COVID tsunami. COVID tsunami. And what is she saying in the last paragraph? I mean, this woman is very crafty and completely stupid. She keeps promoting Indian named kind of experts who are themselves absolutely dishonest and corrupt. Like this one she is doing today, that is, she is promoting today in her column she describes as a veteran Delhi psychiatrist called Achal Bhagat. For weeks, Delhi's entire population seemed to be desperately and often unsuccessfully hunting for hospital beds, medicines, and oxygens for family, friends, and friends of friends. People tapped any contract they could muster. Such quests often proved futile, a psychological jolt to the middle class and affluent Indians whose education, social networks, and financial clout usually insulates them from India's broader state failings. Now, she is not somebody who has been telling the truth about the failings. We shall be talking more about Amy Kazmin and her failings. And the scum remains as pornographic as it ever was after Murdoch and Larry Lamb turned the scum as the pornographic daily. So this is what this Cummings WhatsApp disclosure is doing the rounds, but they're all absolutely dishonest. And they're not hiding it. They are a pornographic. The scum is a pornographic paper. Look at this. This is what they are admitting. The headline in this 2-page spread is how much boob is too much boob. They're not hiding anything. They're not leaving anything to imagination or to the imagination. And it's pages after pages of women's bodies, either wholly exposed or barely covered. So we shall be looking at all these stories and diagnosing them in the next parts. So this has been a short one.